Hey guys, this is going to be a quick tutorial that just covers how we assemble a metahuman into a third-person playable character. Now there are a lot of tutorials out there that cover how to do this. They all use slightly different methods, and some of them take quite a lot of time. What we're going to cover here is the most up-to-date and also the quickest way to go about this. So we're just going to open our metahuman here. We're going to drop on our Husky outfit. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to hit assemble, and then once that part of it is complete, we'll rejoin and show the rest of the process. Okay, now that we have finished assembly on our character, we're just going to hit Ctrl-Shift-S and Ctrl-S to make sure everything is saved. We're then going to shut this down, and we assembled in the default location, so we're just going to go to Content, and we'll see a new folder called Metahumans. In here you'll see the blueprint which has been created. Each one of these folders contains the various components that make it up. The default MH blueprint is an actor class, and what we want to do is make a new class. So we're going to select it, hit Control D to duplicate this, and we're just going to do underscore and call this Playable. Once this is complete, we are then going to double click this here. If I click Viewport, you can see this is the blueprint we've assembled, and right away we can see there's a loading issue with some discrepancies, so we're just going to go into Components, and to the bottom here we're going to choose Load Sync. Under Forced Load we're going to hit 0, hit Enter, then we're going to hit Compile and Save. All this does really is force the character to always display at full resolution. Once this is completed, we are going to go to Class Settings. Under Class Settings, you can see Class Options. Parent class currently is set to Actor. What we're going to do is go in here and we're going to do BP underscore third, and we should see BP third person character come up as an option. If I select this, you can see it's now placed the default third person playable character underneath our metahuman, and there's just a few things we need to do next. First, we're going to take the root of our character. We can see that she's not currently aligned, so we're going to take this root, we're going to drag it up and make it a child of mesh, character mesh 0, drop it on here. Once we've done that, you should see these numbers update, and if you hit each one of these arrows, that will zero out the coordinates and align her with our playable character mannequin. The next step in this process is we want to select the body, and under body you can see animation mode is correctly set to use animation blueprint, but we want to change animation class. In here we're going to type ABP, and once we do that you'll see an option come up called ABP underscore MH live link. There's a few of those, and you want to choose the one that has an icon of 2 characters next to it. We're going to select this, and once we do select this, that's going to make her track the motion of the underlying mannequin. And the last part of this process we want to do is to hide that mannequin and make sure it keeps tracking. So first we're going to hit Compile and Save, which we'll keep doing each time we make a change. Then we're going to select that mannequin, which as you can see is just the mesh we made her a child of. And under here in Details we're going to type Viz to show the visibility option. We're going to hide the mannequin, and under visibility based animation tick option we're going to choose the top option, always tick pose, and refresh bones. That just makes sure that the body mesh will continue to update even when it's hidden. Compile one last time and save. We can now shut this down. To make this the default player, we want to change the default pawn class in World Settings. If you don't see that option, just go to Window and turn on World Settings here. We're then going to go to the new playable blueprint which we made. We're going to hit that little arrow to make it the default pawn class. And if I hit play, you can see we now have a playable metahuman. This is the quickest way of making this, of doing this. There are more complex pipelines out there which involve custom animation, and if you want to do custom animation with a playable blueprint, then you need to retarget, which is a slightly more complex workflow than this. But in terms of just taking your metahuman and making it playable, this is the quickest route and the most up-to-date route to do this, more than some of the more old-fashioned, more long-winded tutorials which are out there. There's just one thing which I'm going to go over in this blueprint really quickly. It's not hugely necessary in this case, but you'll notice that there's occasionally a bit of pass-through of the leg passing through the skirt, and sometimes, in this case we've got lucky, but sometimes when you have a really tight-fitting garment with the body still visible underneath like this, in this case we have the tights, you will see the leg passing through the garment, or issues like this come up. This one's turned out really well, but that issue can arise, especially with tight-fitting garments. So if you do run into that issue, there's a really quick fix for that too, which I'll just include at the end here. So if I hit ESC to exit this mode, we can go back to where our blueprint is, and you can see these different folders contain the different elements. This is the clothing folder. In this case, we would be just looking at doing a weight transfer. So if we do edit weights, and then change this from brush to mesh, and I select some verts on each leg, and I go and I choose flood, that will extend the selection up to the edges of the seams on that garment. In this case, I'm going to hit a vert on each foot and hit flood again, just so we have all of the tights. And let's include the bottom of this dress as well. So flooding that, we now have the verts for the tights and the lower part of the dress selected. And what we would do to fix an issue, if you do have one, is go back to this folder, go to the body, go to the skeletal mesh for the character, and we would just drop this in here. That's the underlying mesh for the character, and we're just going to do a transferring of weights. So hit transfer weights, hit accept, hit save. In most cases this final step is not necessary, but sometimes it is, so I thought it's important to include here too. All that does is make sure that the clothing has the exact same weights as the underlying body, and what that will do is get rid of pass-throughs and bits showing that shouldn't show. And that's it. The character that you see here has all of the same functionality as a metahuman, so the live link facial motion capture and all that type of stuff will work along with lip sync. The character's being driven with the keyboard right now, but if you plug in a controller, it will run off of the controller, and all of the same functionality that you get with a traditional third-person character is there and basically ready to play. If you need to do something more complex, where you have custom animation for your character, in that case we would do a separate tutorial which involves retargeting of the animation. But if you just want the basic playable functionality that you're used to, this is the quickest and most up-to-date way to do that. If you have any questions, I've put a link to our Discord in the description for this video. You can always ask questions directly or request specific tutorials on there, or you're welcome to leave a comment below, and I'll try to get back to you if I can. And if you have any specific garment needs, I've also placed a link to our Husky apparel line that's for sale on Fab. We have about 65 garments, and there's more and more every week, so it's a great place to get pre-made outfits for your characters if you need them. Hope you found this helpful, and I will see you on the next one.